The KDKA Sports Desk is brought to you by Xfinity.
Welcome back. Want to talk about some hockey-related news. Former Penguin Ron Francis, of course, played for 4 teams in his NHL career and got himself a spot in the Hockey Hall of Fame. He was inducted, I believe, back in 2007. Well, today, he now has his second shot as a GM of an NHL franchise. He has been named the general manager of the expansion franchise in Seattle. Now, the team has not been named yet. It has not gotten his nickname. However, ESPN is reporting that Francis will receive a multi-year deal as the team's new GM. Now, his previous experience, he was the general manager with the Carolina Hurricanes from 2014 to 2018. He was actually the guy that succeeded Jim Rutherford when Jim Rutherford left Carolina and eventually found his way to the Penguins. So kind of a weird third degree there as far as Ron Francis, and another kind of tie in there with the Penguins and that GM job. But now he gets the opportunity as the guy in Seattle. Also want to talk about the couple of scores that we have going on right now in the National League Central Division. A couple teams that are playing right now. Actually, we have Cardinals and Reds. That game has gone final. St. Louis wins 7-4. We also have Milwaukee playing out on the West Coast. They're in Arizona. That game is tied at 1 in the 4th inning between the Brewers and the Diamondbacks. First round of the Open Championship this afternoon in Northern Ireland, and a really good day for J.B. Holmes, the Kentucky native, 37 years old, had an outstanding round to start it off. Actually shot a 5-under 66 on day one. He is your leader, has a 1-shot lead over Shane Lowry. There you see there with the tee off on 17. That put him in pretty good position for a putt that saved par. And then after that, on the 18th hole, actually had a pretty nice long putt that set up for birdie. That's the one that dropped him down to 5 under par. So after 18 holes, J.B. Holmes is your leader at the Open Championship. He has a 1-stroke lead over Shane Lowry. So pretty interesting situation going on over there. And of course, with the Open Championship, you never really know what the weather. Things can swing from one round to the next. So it'll be worth paying attention to as we go out through the weekend. And we'll talk about it a lot here coming up during KDKA News at 6 and also at 11. 412-575-2600 is the number on the Borders and Borders hotline. Also taking your tweets at Josh Taylor HD. We have Rob, who on Twitter, who says, can you imagine where the Pirates would be right now if they had even 2 members of the Yankees bullpen? Could you imagine Aroldis Chapman in this bullpen? How good he would be. I'll switch that a little bit. Could you imagine how much better this Pirates team could be if they had a healthy and effective Keone Kela? Start there. Just start with having that one guy, just to have a different option in the 7th or 8th inning. To be able to go to him in the 8th inning, and maybe go to Kyle Crick if you need him in the 7th inning, and maybe Richard Rodriguez in the 6th inning. Just imagine if you had that set up where you had one more reliable guy in late innings. I don't even think you need 2. Just have one. You're probably looking at 5 or 6 games that they probably could have won just by adding an extra arm that's healthy, maybe even and or reliable in the bullpen. Let's go to the phone lines, 412-575-2600. Let's go to Chuck in Uniontown. Chuck, you're on the Nightly Sports Call. Hello, Chuck. I think we lost Chuck. Sorry, Chuck. I think we lost him. We'll have to try to get Chuck back. Hopefully he calls back. Let's go to Bob in Clearfield. Bob, you're on the Nightly Sports Call.
Hi, Josh. Thank you very much. In regard to the Pirates pitching staff, if you recall, over the span of a couple of years, they drafted Tyon, Stetson Ali, Nick Kingham, Casey Sadler. These guys you expect to be the pitching staff of today. But as you see today, one's hurt, the other 3 are completely out of the organization.
Yeah.
AAA, Brubaker's hurt. Keller hasn't shown he can make the transition to Major League, so they got a long ways back from a pitching staff perspective. And just one other thing, you said that about Will Craig. His problem is he's striking out way too much down at AAA, and he realized he's only just 2 years younger than Josh Bell. And his wife, who was chosen for the Futures game, his wife said to him, "Aren't you getting a little old for this?" And so I said, I thought he made interesting points, but their pitching staff, they got a long way back in terms of development. Thanks very much.
Thanks for the call. I didn't mention Will Craig tonight. Well, it's a great point. Can argue with it. There's another point. You mentioned Nick Kingham. He was designated for assignment by the Blue Jays. So there's that whole thing. Clearly the next trip didn't work too well for him. And we've seen it happen. But here's a strange thing. Sometimes the next team doesn't always work for guys who leave the Pirates, but the second team, they tend to have a little bit more success. So keep an eye on that too. Let's go to Mark in Greensburg. Mark, you're on the Nightly Sports Call.
Hey, Josh. I agree with you. I think the Steelers' offense could be better without, the bees, and also, why wouldn't the Pirates use Vasquez like maybe for 2 innings, maybe 3 times a week when they do get a decent start, instead of he's only pitched 4 2/3 innings this month.
Yeah.
That puzzles me. Thanks.
I appreciate that, and thanks for the call. It's a really good point, and honestly, it does speak to a couple of different things. It speaks to, one, that they don't have reliable options before him, and that's a big enough problem. If you can't get the ball to your closer, then what good is your closer? It's really the same issue when you have bad starting pitching. If you have a great closer and bad starting pitching, it doesn't matter because you got to bridge the gap from inning number 1 to inning number 9. And it also comes down to what's your philosophy as far as using relievers. Are you going to use him in an Andrew Miller type role where he's going to be a guy that gets to flex around? Now, bear in mind, when Cleveland did that, they had a couple other guys that they could rely upon if they needed a guy to pitch in the 8th or 9th inning. And I don't know if the Pirates can do that with Vasquez, because who else can they trust consistently other than him? It would be great. I think it would be the ideal to use him in that role. But now the problem is, let's say you use him in the 7th or 8th inning because you're facing the better part of the lineup. Maybe you're facing 3, 4, 5 in the 8th inning, so use him in the 8th. But now you got to protect the lead in the 9th. Are you going to Richard Rodriguez? Are you going to Kyle Crick? Are you going to Francisco Liriano? Do you trust any of those 3 guys? So, yeah, it would be a great thing. But if you're going to do that, if you're going to have him pitch earlier, you got to have a guy that you can trust later, and that is part of the scenario. That's kind of part of the problem. Let's go to Rich in Altoona. Rich, you're on the Nightly Sports Call.
Hey, Josh, hear me out. Everything in a nutshell about the Pirates, okay? Nutting owns the team. Coonelly and Huntington do what he says. Clint Hurdle is not to blame because he only works with what he's given to work with. It's not his fault. We talk about every year about Josh Bell, like he's not going to be here after 2020. The best players get dealt. It's just shampoo, rinse, and repeat. This vicious cycle is just never going to end with this guy owning the team. There is just no getting out of it.
Question.
They don't come in. They don't get free agents. They don't bring in anybody that they need.
Rich,
Yes.
Got a question.
Yeah. Sure.
The best guys get dealt. Why are Marte and Vasquez still here? That's a legit
I didn't
question.
hear you. I didn't hear you. I'm sorry, Josh.
The best guys always get dealt. Why are guys like Vasquez and Marte still here?
Okay, but we'll go to the All-Star game, Josh.
It was a question. That was a question. Usually requires an answer.
Okay, I think they're going to get dealt before the break. Before the deadline. I do. Yeah, okay. I do. Because they're 6.5 games out, and it's the same thing as always. But look at Garrett Cole and look at Austin Meadows, American League All-Stars.
One problem with that theory. You know how we complain about how Chris Archer gives up a lot of home runs, how he's giving up like a home run or more per start? You know who did that before he got dealt? Garrett Cole. Gave up a home run per start in 2017, and then he got traded. So that might not be the best example because he actually had the lowest trade value when they traded him. Just something to think about. And we'll take a break while you guys think about that. We'll be right back.